I made this. Okay, so to start doing the sound design, I'll start by taking a look, just know what sound am I gonna need. So I have this scene here. When I start something like this, I take a quick look to understand the sound that I'm gonna use repeatedly. So when I go through this, I notice that the weapon sound is gonna be the sound that's gonna dominate the scene. So I start with that. Why do I start with the big one, the sound that's dominating, not for example the detailed one or the small sounds? The reason for that is because if I focus on the small sounds like footsteps and movement, when I add the bigger sounds, the loud ones, I might find out that the small sounds weren't even necessary because the loud ones covered them up. That's why you need to start with the loud sounds first. So what I started with in this scene is the sound of this weapon. If you look at it, it looks like a chain of rings. So to create that sound, I need to have an idea about its material, so I can represent its movement and impacts properly. If it's metal, for example, I will look for metallic sounds, like in our scene here. I also need to know how strong it is, meaning what kind of power I want to convey to the viewer. So the chain feels extremely powerful. So it's metal because of the rings, and also it has this nature of lighting or electricity. So I need to combine these three things: the feeling of metal, the electric nature of it, and the strength and the power behind it. So to start expressing that power, I would start with a whoosh or these swings. So I chose this whoosh because it has a very deep and powerful feeling to it. How I usually search for this, I would go on the website and search for something like deep whoosh or a dramatic whoosh. So this whoosh gave me the swing sound, so I placed it under every other swing. So after that, I need something to express the impact of the weapon. I settled on this boom, but the impact won't be one sound, because as we said before, we have many feelings we need to convey in every hit this weapon will have. The metallic sound, a sword, will do the best. And I also added a metallic riser. So I took a sword impact and I reversed it. If you look carefully here at this boom that I chose, you can see that I did this fade out here. But the reason I did that, if we open this here, like we have a long sound. When we don't want the rest of the sound, a method I usually use, I use the reverb to end the sound, so it doesn't end abruptly. Like, listen to this. If I took the reverb and cancel them out, it doesn't work as good. If you look at this sword sound here, if I started building my sound with this sword before the whoosh, it's very clear that it's a sword, it's not what we want. But when we blend it with the other sound, it sounds actually pretty good. And that's why we always start with that bigger sound. And all these layers together created the final sound. After I finished this sound, I took it, placed it under every other swing. This was the question of how to build the sound. And another example of this, every layer of these represents something that's in the nature of the weapon. Like this energy and the vibration of the weapon. That has a metallic nature. This sound adds to the power that's transforming and the stretch between them. This is all about the rings, and this is all about the electric nature. If I play them all, you have this sound. Also pay attention that, as you can see here, we have every one of them has its speed changed. Normally when you get a sound, you have to learn how to imagine what it would be when sped up or slowed down. You get a lot of interesting variations of the sound when you speed it up or slow it down. You might have a question here, that is, if you look at the names of these sounds, you might find some weird names. How do you even find these names to begin with? Sound design is all about vocabulary. If you don't know what sounds to look for, it will be so hard for you to find what you're looking for. But here's the thing, it comes with practice. The more you practice, the more sounds you will be exposed to, and then you will memorize a lot of them. Second, there's a great way to use AI for this. If we go to ChatGPT, for example, and I ask him, so as you can see here, ChatGPT gave us a great suggestions of keywords. You take one of these sounds and you go to Artlist or whatever website you are using. I use two websites, Artlist and Pixabay. Now, sometimes you won't find the sound you have in your head. head. So what do you do then? As an example of this, I have this scene of the spinning rings. At the beginning it was so hard to find what sound can I use for these spinning rings. Like I've tried many, I've tried chain sounds, I've tried metal swing sounds. I wasn't able to put it all together to sound like it was spinning. So I asked myself, what real movements sound similar to this? A helicopter? Maybe electric motor? Maybe also a ship chain, like being pulled. So I searched for that. So these are the sounds without processing, without EQ. The movement is perfect, but the sound itself has unwanted frequencies. So I used an EQ to clean these. Now, how did I find these frequencies? So my process goes like this. So I have parametric equalizer here. So I open this, we solo this sound and we loop it to know which frequencies do we need to change. If you have a sound and you don't know which frequencies is causing this bad feeling about it, you diagnose it by lifting a point so high that until you isolate the frequencies. Then once you find them, you just take them down. So when you don't find the sound in your mind, you just need to find a sound close enough that you understand that when you apply some processes to it, you will get the sound you want. So how do you blend the sounds in the environment to make them feel like they are part of that environment? So we have a couple of tools here. So like volume, we use volume to balance everything and create the right mix. My whoosh might be at -7 dB and my impact at -12 dB. Each sound contributes to a certain percentage to the final mix, and I control that through volume. The big dominant movement should always be the loudest, while smaller details sit underneath. Panning allows us to give the sound a spatial feeling. An example of this would be this scene here. So we have the left character, all of its sounds are panned to the left, and the right character, all of its sounds are panned to the right. Third one is EQ, and we already discussed that, as I showed you how I changed the chain movement from being heavy on the low end to focus on the high end only. The last tool of the most common tools are the reverb. It gives the sound space and power. You can use it to make a big movement echo or to help a sound fade naturally instead of cutting off. To reshape and avoid repetitive sounds, you can slightly change the speed or pitch, or swap one layer for another variation. For example, one sword swing could be a bit faster, another slightly slower. Tiny differences like that keep the scene feeling alive